Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be joining us. And, well, my name is Strifium, hailing here from Canada. Welcome to Hungary. It is the America's Tier 1 racing division, and I am very, very much excited for all of this action. Seb will be joining us in qualifying in just a few moments' time, as we are just awaiting, I think, a few more drivers to get into the session. But before we do so, I will take us through the circuit. Of course, Hungary, 14 turns, 4.381 kilometers, 2.738 miles. A very intense racing circuit. It is the Hungarian, not too many overtaking opportunities. America's Tier 1, presenting, at the very least from my perspective, having commentated that race yesterday evening, a very, very exciting race, to say the least. But we saw how difficult overtaking can be. We saw Johnny pull a little bit of an optimistic move on the egg surf, and it just didn't really go to plan for him, and so that really compromised him. And so we'll just have to see how things roll out here for this division. Of course, this is the 9th round, and moving ahead will be in Singapore next week. Following that, a break week, and then things move on over to France, Spain, Austria, Mexico, and then the finale in Brazil for the 15 rounds here, season 5. That said, time to take a look at the standings. Things in this division have been tight all season, and that's really been trending throughout the entirety of the league. But I'll tell you something, Lucas Yan has a 10-point foothold over Becky B right now, and that's massive because Becky B, of course, Williams driver, the reigning champion, and he did a very good job in this division last season. TJ spent 78 points, Microlander 56, with Seajaws 55 points right behind him in 5th. You got Rhapsody 5 points ahead of Carmen Lesson. Things very tight in the midfield as well. Mercedes leading this championship by a decent margin, 184 points here in this division. They're contributing a major haul to the combined constructors. The Williams squad, 142 points for Becky B and Phoenix Mateo now over there. The Aston Martin's rounding up that 3rd slot. And now with that, we are just about ready to go racing in Hungary. I am that. The drivers. And we'll be into our 18 minutes of qualifying ahead of a 35-lap campaign with a dynamic weather roll of the dice. And I'm told that the Tier 3 race earlier today was something to see. So if this week has been anything to go by, we're in for a thriller. And that's really been the trend for all the divisions, but not least this one. This has been a very exciting race to watch, and Seb will mimic that when he joins us on. With that, just looking for one driver right. I think one driver may be having issues getting in. Car. Alrighty, the countdown to qualifying has begun. We are now 15 seconds away from jumping in to see our real, well, I call it a treat, the roll of the dice that is the weather, and we'll just have to see what this grid draws.
Hello.
Welcome, Seb. Welcome to the broadcast booth. How are you doing this evening?
I'm very good. It seems like I joined at the perfect time as well. Just as we're getting into the lobby. How are you doing as well, Striff?
Absolutely fantastic. Really excited to see whether we get ourselves here with the roll of the dice. Becky B, Lucas Yan, 10 points in separation in the standings right now. An absolute grind here ahead of us in Hungary between these two. 35 laps the campaign in Hungary.
Yeah, it's a very fun track in my opinion. Oh, we already have rain, Striff.
Ooh.
I mean, this has been a factor throughout the whole entire season in America's Tier 1. We saw it in Tier 4, I believe, in Hungary earlier yesterday. Um, well, it's going to be a factor, at least in qualifying.
Well, I wonder if we see rain in the race as well. That is something I really want to see.
Confirmation? We have a dry race, according to Maxime B. So
Well, spoils
seems like
that.
it will be a straight. It seems like it'll be a
Thanks for that.
straightforward medium
Thanks.
hard. Sorry about that, but nevertheless, it's going to be very interesting to see how these drivers perform in these interconditions, considering they'll have dry setups on with that dry race inevitably to come. But as we were saying, this track is a very fun track. Although it doesn't provide the best racing, you can get some good battles through turn 1 to turn 4. So with those two DRS zones on that main straight and the run down from turn 1 to turn 2, you can get very, very entertaining. And a lot of elbows can come out, especially.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. 20 drivers on the grid this evening. We have from top to bottom Maxim B for Red Bull Visha. For Aston Martin with Joss in the Haas. Becky B for Williams. Rez over at McLaren. On Hell, of course, who we are following along with in the partnering Red Bull. Yama in the other Haas. Microlander in the Ferrari. Carmelesson for Alpine. Tiffy in the McLaren. Jacob in the Alfa Romeo. We have Pablo Benitez for Alpine, as well as Yaya and Paula Brady here in Tier 1 today, 13 and 14. Paula Brady reserving from the Americas Tier 2 division. Bolts for Alfa Romeo. Rhapsody, formerly Phoenix Bo Mateo, I do Bautista, and B-Man for Ferrari with Melee, and of course Lucas Yan, our championship leader on Hell, kicks off the first lap here in Hungary.
You see the traction out of turn 1 very difficult in these back conditions. It doesn't get the throttle fully down until 50, although I believe that would be a precaution. Pointing that car, keeping as close to the inside as possible to turn 2, letting the rear end kick out a bit. Be careful not to do that too much through turn 3, especially because you see a lot of accidents there in the wet. Turn 4, very tricky corner in the dry or the wet. Hard to nail it and get it absolutely perfect, but it's like Arnhell's just going through the motions right now, trying to find those limits. Braking just before that left-hand side curb as you ride these big curbs through the chicane of turns 6 and 7. Now this is the fun part. 8, 9, just such a good rhythm you can get here, especially in the race as you go through turn 10 into turn 11. In my opinion, a harder corner than turn 4, because turn 4 you really have to be cautious for. This corner you can just send it through. It's very easy to invalidate or extend during the race. Get the car under throttle, brake and turn in at the same time through 13. The long and very hard to get the throttle down as you just wait, and then you pin it. You're also already into turn 14. Just hug the inside, get the throttle down as early as possible on the run down to the start finish line, and there's your lap of Hungary. Very slow 29.1s. It looks very cautious from the Red Bull driver.
He'll also be next to Cross, 31.109. Yama, 29.233. Visha, 29.012 provisional pole. Benitez.
Rhapsody's already beaten him.
Oof, yeah, things could very well be getting quicker, or just Rhapsody showing some good prowess in the wet. Well, both Mercedes, potentially. That's 1 and 2. So the setup for the dry could just be prevailing today. A lot of times coming onto the board now. Siffy into the 3rd position. B-Man 6th. Jacob into 10th now. There goes Stoltz, 9.
Becky B's just about to start his lap, and we've been talking to him. You know how he hasn't been able to put together a solid quali. Well, he puts a solid quali together in Baku, and what happens? He wins the race. So if he could just hook it up here, you'd think he would be able to do with the class and quality he has, defending America's Tier 1 champion. You think he'd be able to put something together, but it hasn't gone his way in quali so far this season, barring a couple of good results, such as in Baku.
Up through turn 4 now. Tricky in dry, let alone wet conditions. Fighting at a 5. Trying to find it through into the 6-7 chicane. Drivers definitely improving here lap after lap, of course, with Lucas and Pablo Benitez. Becky B pushing as hard as he can now. There he goes, 28.077.
Still way off Lucas Yan. It's still only 11 minutes left, so 6.5 minutes through this quali session, a lot of time to gain, a lot of time to find.
Yeah, pushing himself between Becky B and Lucas Yan. 2nd position for the AlphaTauri so far. And again, drivers chaining laps on hell. Moves into that 2nd slot. 27.802, closing the gap ever so slightly further to Lucas Yan. There goes Pablo.
Benitez, it's a good time. You're going to see the 27s is probably where it'll be a round for quali, but it does look like there's I'd say a drier line forming, especially through these 6 minutes that we have had. It's definitely getting a bit more obvious where it is, so it's a sign that the track is drying up a little and the rain is slightly easing, but the rain is still going to stay. So it's important that they get these laps out in the driest possible conditions, although it's hard to call this dry when you're driving on Inters.
A lot of drivers pushing. We saw Michael Lander go 4th. Jacob went 7th. Racers coming into the pit lane after multiple runs now.
Once again, we don't have TJ Spin. He is being replaced by Melee in the Aston Martin. He's currently sitting P12 with 28.96, sitting in the pits at the moment, so you can definitely improve on that time. As I said before, this track will ramp up as Vischer, newly appointed driver, and then Benitez as well, Strip. So time's voluntarily coming down. I believe Lucas Yan or Rhapsody has just crossed the start-finish line. That's Rhapsody. Lucas Yan to follow. He goes fast into the 26s, so seems like prediction was wrong with the time saying at the 27s, because Lucas Yan's gone and made me look like a fool by 4/10.
Michael Lander pushing into 2nd, closing the gap very well. Wow. Talk about closing the gap. Becky B is now the car to beat.
He's gone a step better than closing the gap. I think this just shows how important it is to get that lap in at the very end. He does that lap about 30 seconds after Lucas Yan does it, and he gets that extra tenth of advantage. I'm just watching these yellow flags in Sector 2. That's Microland has had a spin through Turn 5, or out of it, I should say. There's Fisher once again.
Yeah, I think Lucas has something for that, and I think things are getting dry here for the end of this qualifying. Rez just in front of Lucas. Goes 10th. Lucas says, that's okay. 25.9.
Oh, they're battling on track and they're not even next to each other.
Yeah, they really are. And I love it.
Oh, I love it as well. Great drama, isn't it?
It is, definitely.
Really builds something. And I think we both know that these two were in each other's, talking to each other last week about potential penalties they could have given each other crossing the pit lane entries. So if that's not a sign that this rivalry is heating up, well, just watch what's happening on track, because
10
they
points.
are trading blows.
Yeah, 10 points, and neither driver is going to give an inch here. Rhapsody washing out wide there. Big invalidation. Him coming into the pit lane here.
Rhapsody's a massive factor in all this as well.
Well, he's rear gunner. And he's been doing a stellar job of this. Last race, he was a factor, I think. Without a doubt. And most definitely in the qualifying.
It's really cool to see as the season goes along how that will affect the championship. You know, you said it back here, we've already seen it happen. We've seen it happen numerous times. But at what point does something big happen between these drivers? Because we haven't actually. I've said it last week. We haven't actually seen a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing between these two, albeit they are very close to the championship. So I feel like today's the day where we might actually get this. So we have a driver in the pits. Is Yaya just pipped Fisher by 100th and several thousandths of a second. But Microland in the pits, he's got the soft tyres on at the moment, Striff. Oh, no, he's thought better of it.
He's just thinking about it right now. Yeah, with that provisional pole. Very nice run from him. Angel went 5th quickest here.
We're about to see all these drivers come out for their final runs. Several laps of fuel and just bang out those laps. Important you get the latest one as Lucas Yan with the latest lap. Goes fastest by 8/10.
I think it's fun to see that he's done this on the same set of entries. Just going one after another. 7 laps now.
I think it's pretty smart because I think he may box this lap, come in, get a new set of inters. You get 3 sets of inters through qualifying and race. That's what the game gives you. And he'll get those fresh inters and he'll get to put in that late run. And the track is dried up a bit more easy to use those intermediate tyres to get the most out of them. Could very well be looking at the pole right now, but it's very hard to tell. So Angel jumps his way up into P2. That white liveried Red Bull. Very pretty car. At least that's what I think. I think everyone else agrees with me though.
But Lucas on the way in. Armor lesson on the way in as well with some damage. looking to respond massively here in this timing tower. Pushing to the line. 25.697. Second position.
Barely beat Arnhell. Wonder if there's a bit of a mistake in that lap shift.
Well, I think he's still pushing. I think he's going to just run it until he can't run it any longer in this qualifying session. Found some time.
A purple sector 1 will definitely give him confidence.
Yeah, no doubt. And, well, gives himself what he needs in the next sector. An absolutely critical sector, especially in the wet. Might just find himself with improvement. See what he has here at the split.
Oh,
that was tight.
So much understeer.
Needs 2/10 and just a bit more here if he's gonna do something about Lucas. And Lucas is on an outlap and he's finding tons of pace all session long. Here comes Becky B.
Just off.
Well, he's really improving and we could very well see him close the gap even further. He is, I think, continuing to push. No, he's dropped it.
He'll go for that last lap run, which he'll need. He's timed it pretty well considering he'll have about 20, maybe 10 seconds left in the session when he crosses that start-finish line, but when you look at it, I think he'll be getting pole, but P2 is a very, very good result.
Rhapsody with a good improvement there. 0.02 of a second separating him and Yaya at the moment. Bisha flying in the Aston Martin. It would appear we've had an issue with host migrates.
Apparently Maxim's game has crashed. So we'll see what happens, but drivers finishing the laps. Lucas Yan has invalidated his lap. I think the lobby is just about bugged out.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what moment. Okay. Quick moment here as I assess this situation.
just joining us, bear with us one moment. We just had an issue with the lobby. We're currently at the end of qualifying, so provisionally it's Lucas Yan on pole, Becky Beat P2, and Angel P3.
Now I do believe we're just gonna hold out to see the results of the qualifying session after the host is. We're gonna see what happens at the end of the qualifying, and then we're gonna determine whether or not this is gonna be a qualifying restart or if the present times will stand moving into the race.
I might try something real quick here. Sorry. See if this helps.
Okay, so it won't actually end session. I don't believe.
Yes. Yeah, seems like Maxime can't rejoin either.
Alright, sorry for the delay. And sorry for the lobby issue. I do believe the host had a crash problem. So, we are going to be restarting the session. And it will be a qualifying grid based on the results we had before the crash, as qualifying was pretty well over with the intermediate compound tires. Now we're coming into a dry race, but now we are going to redo quali.
Apparently so.
Okay, Ghazi is saying redo quali. We're gonna redo quali. Now, I do believe we are going to be having ourselves a full session restart with custom weather to duplicate what we were expecting for the race, which means we'll have intermediate conditions for the qualifying, and then, of course, the dry conditions from the race that were forecast in the first session. If you're just tuning in, we are doing a restart of the qualifying because of a lobby issue near the end of qualifying, and we did not have an opportunity to get definitive results for the crash. So now we will have to redo the qualifying to get an appropriate grid. Sorry for the delays, everyone. We're just trying to get everything sorted as we get back into the qualifying session. Alrighty. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to a little bit of a gloomy Hungary once again for 18 minutes of qualifying as our 20 drivers get back set into the session for their best shot at, well, what could very well be a pole position or a top 5, top 10 going into a dry campaign.
Car's straight away leaving the pits. It's likely eager to get back out on track. I've just been sitting around for about 18 odd minutes. And if you're still with us, thanks for staying with us. As Strip said, we are restarting quali and the race.
Hopefully no further issues. Of course, you just You hate it when those things happen. B-Man, the first driver to get out of the pit lane and send it for a lap. And he will be one of 19 drivers on their way out right now. The only other driver who is not on track is the other Ferrari.
Microlander indeed.
Very busy circuit.
Yeah, very busy. It's a short track as well. 2.722 miles, 4.381 kilometers. You can easily fit 20 cars on there, but doesn't mean if you get cars on different laps, such as out lap, hot lap, or in lap, it can get quite hairy. But these guys are all on their out laps and about to start their hot laps, so we shouldn't see any issues in terms of blocking.
It was though round 9, everybody in this grid pretty well vigilant and aware.
I mean, you'd hope so. 9 rounds in, we passed the teething out stages. There's a waffle in the chat. Called previous call your practice session. I think that's a perfect way to describe that first quali session we had. A practice session for this quali session.
And the first lap to come across the line right now. (26.436). Much quicker on this first run. Gazieg mentioning circuits quicker off the get-go here. Nine times, 10 times on the board as Carmeles in 26.266.
Becky B's in third. We have the two Mercedes about to cross the line just to see if he goes fastest. Lucas Yan one-ups him. Maxime about to cross the line. Stops in the P12, and here comes Rhapsody. Only as good as 14th.
Some good runs coming through right now. Microlander's still in that pit lane, and he hasn't done anything since this session began. B-Man, straight fire into the pit lane.
Right, interesting choice by Microlander to stay in the pits, but I can understand why. He's kind of already had his warm-up from that previous session. He doesn't need to learn too much. Maybe come out for a lap at 10 minutes, make sure he gets used to the track a little bit. And that last longish run at the end, making sure he gets that excuse of the most track evolution as possible.
A lot of movement in the top 10 right now. Becky B now in 9th, looking to move up. Second position. And not too far off Lucas Yan either.
Good time, we're going to keep in mind Lucas Yan did set that time about a minute earlier than Becky did. Nonetheless, putting pressure on your rival is never a bad thing. So he's had a good lap here. 10th up, Fisher's in. Oh, look at that gap between Lucas Yan and Vicious Drift.
Yeah, it's very it's marginal. It is this tiny little.
That gap right there is a wrong gear shift or being just that a millimeter too deep on your throttle. It's no longer that gap anymore, but
You shattered it.
Lucas Yan.
You ruined it.
Yeah, he shattered it.
Well,
It's Rhapsody. Ooh.
1-2 now for the Mercs.
The Rhapsody well and truly getting into it, and we can see that from time to time. He puts in some really good laps. He just doesn't have that consistency such as his teammate has and Becky B has, but he does get up there from time to time, doesn't he? So the car stopped on track. Sector 2, that's just Yaya Tango. Looking like he's letting cars out the way. Low on fuel. Microlander is finally out of the pits.
Jacob pushing into 10th position now in the Alfa Romeo. For another driver, Becky B. 5th position for him, Lucas Yan 25.273.
Times are falling. You just look at the combined constructors. Alfa Romeo have a commanding lead over the Williams, who are, I believe, 98 points behind. Mercedes aren't too far off Williams, about 20 odd points. So very important as the season winds down. We're past that halfway mark, we're getting close to that 2/3 mark. These teams just keep racking in those points. It's be a factor when it comes to that final round in Brazil.
Mateo flying right now. A lot of drivers on the move. $25,698 still where Vicha stands, looking to improve on a flyer now coming through turn 1.
Oh, look at that understeer getting on that throttle early. It's going to compromise his run through turn 3. Seem to slow the car in to turn 4. And avoid that inside curb of turn 5. It's an auto spin curb, touch it, and you will definitely go around unless you have some of the best reflexes in the world. See him using those inside curbs through 8 and 9. Crucial because they help bring the car into the corner, help reduce that understeer, especially in the wet. Also minimises the amount of distance you cover through the lap. Purple's middle sector. See Reds pull out the way to the right hand side. Rounding through turn 13, really hooked up nicely under the brakes. He gets that throttle under him. Looking at a good lap drift this one.
Yeah, very nice lap. 25.317, second position now, standing for the Aston Martin.
I believe Micro Landers just set a purple middle sector as well. Track very very well underway, getting heated up, but Michael Lender's called it a day into the pits.
Ziffy on the move right now. Rez invalidated on his way into the pit lane. B-Man on the move potentially. Not with any kind of... Well, we'll see in a moment. About to cross the split. Does he have an improvement in hand? He does not.
You can see him, he set that fast time at the start, but he's dropped all the way to P17, and it shows it's important to get those laps out later, as that track really, really ramps up.
Still plenty of time with 5 minutes remaining. After as many laps as these drivers have done now, Seb, I mean, this Hungarian Grand Prix, I imagine, is going to be an extremely eventful race start, especially this first stint.
Well, so what's going to be interesting is seeing them adjust to the dry conditions, because they've just been doing countless amounts of laps in these inters in quali, trying to get acclimatized to that. And once they get their rhythm here, which they've just about gotten by now, I think that they'd have to, I wouldn't say learn to drive in the dry again, but get used to that again, get that feeling again, knowing when to put that throttle down, how much pressure you need to apply on those brakes. Improvisers have to overcome, I guess.
Melee shooting into 16th position on his last run. Rhapsody improves 4 milliseconds? No. That improvement. Well, he did a tenth. Okay, that's what I thought in the end. I think it was a sector improvement that was 4 milliseconds, not the lap improvement that I had seen there.
The sign that this qualifying session's wearing thin on you.
Lucas into the chicane. Looking for as much as he can find.
Massive improvement. He's hooked it nicely through turn 12 as well. You see all that exit curb. Nice turn in through 13. Washes out a bit, but gets it under control nicely. A really early turn in for the final corner. Throttle down over the curb. This is a good lap.
Oh yeah.
Could even hear the crowd in my game go ooh at that. That's how good of a lap it was.
24.872, and yes, the crowd went ooh at that.
Becky B's just rounded off the second sector. He was up purple through it. So important he gets this lap in because he's sitting P7 right now. If you get caught in a DRS train around here, it is hard to overtake and very taxing on ERS this track. Good lap though. It's just 2/10 off of Lucas Yan, so he can improve on that.
One thing I'll note with Becky, he has had some, now I'm going to talk about Japan in a second, but he has had some stellar race starts this season. Now, he takes many positions on race starts where he does not qualify in the best position. That said, ooh, there goes Yama tight through on turn 3. That said, in Japan he had a stellar race start, but we did see him with the DNF, and that was, I don't necessarily think through much fault of his own, because it was a handed DSQ for going the wrong way when he was just trying to avoid fast movers coming by. So he did take a number of positions on that race start. Saw him take a number of positions. I believe it was also in Baku.
I still think the most impressive one was Japan until he was up there as well. But it just all got cut short. Do that run down to spoon curve and then an unfortunate disqualification for driving backwards to rejoin the track. That's unfortunate.
Ten seconds remaining on this session as far as our counter. And it's now remaining as we have retirements coming through. Lucasian looking for an improvement on already a very good lap, a 24.872, standing for pole position. Visha takes the checkered flag, 25.180, the fastest run from the Aston Martin.
He's up there. Bishop. Commerce as well. Commerce so close to beating Becky B's time. He's just slightly down through that middle sector. He still can't beat it. A 10th off.
Lucasian.
That's a statement.
24.508, just pushing it even further. Rez holding an improvement right now. This can shoot him into 7th position, maybe 8th, 9th. Excuse me, 2/10 is what he finds. 25.619, 9th position for the Australian.
Didn't look like he had the confidence through that final corner to get the power down early enough. You just see him wobbling through it. And that seems to be what qualifying will be. Mateo, invalid lap time. He's across the line, last to do it. We're just waiting for Yamamoto and B-Man to be wheeled into the pits. But our two championship leaders, front row, not far behind Karma and Visha, could pose a serious threat to those two.
Well, there we have it. Lucasian once again. Pole position for the Brazilian Mercedes driver, 24.508, the fastest run here in the intermediate qualifying session for the Hungarian Grand Prix of the 9th round of Season 5 MRL America's Tier 1 action. My name is Striffy. I'm joined by Seb. We have Becky B in 2nd position for Williams, Carmelesson there for Alpine in 3rd, Visha 4th, Siffy in 5th, Rhapsody in 6th, Microlander in 7th, Yaya in 8th, Rez in 9th, with Pablo Benitez rounding out the top 10. We are going to go through grid on the formation lap.
Ooh, slightly overcast by the looks of it, but should still be dry.
Imagine if we saw wet tires. Wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't it be something indeed?
Ten seconds counting down for these racers to select their dry running strategies. Gonna be it's a hard circuit to overtake. Formation lap is now underway. Look at that. 2 drivers on the softs. Becky B and Rez. Both opting for the soft compound tires here. They are both inside of the top 10. Becky B will need to take Lucas very quickly here and pull a gap.
Oh, for sure. I wonder if maybe he's forgotten to change his strategy, but we're hearing news that softs can go quite a while, but the softs do die off under temperature very quickly. It takes about 4 laps for them to start overheating, maybe 5, 6, but medium hard normally is the way to go. That's why you see most of the drivers, the 18 of the 20, on those medium tires. Or maybe medium soft is faster. We'll see. We'll definitely see.
Well, you love to see the differential in strategy between the 2 championship runners right now, and that's Lucas and Becky B at the tip of the spear. Mediums for Lucas, softs for Becky B, and he's trying something here. Lucas was showing some great pace in the qualifying. Of course, it was an intermediate qualifying, presenting challenges for every driver on this grid. But of course, Lucas in pole position with Becky B lining up on the front row next to him. It's Carmelesson in 3rd, Visha in 4th, Siffy in 5th, Rhapsody in 6th, Microlander in 7th, Yaya in 8th, Rez in 9th, Pablo Benitez in 10th, Tholtz in 11th, Yama in 12th, with Mateo in 13th. It's Maxim in 14th, with Angel 15th position. Jacob here in 16th, as well as B-Man, Cjoss in 18th. And we have Melee, as well as Paula Brady, rounding out the grid for the 20 racers to take us away for round 9 here for Tier 1 America's racing action. Ooh, I am ready. Are you ready, Seb?
I am ready.
2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Hungary. They're out, and we are away racing here. Becky B on the soft compound tires immediately with a supercharged run on Lucas Yan coming down the inside into turn 1. 5-second penalty for Angel. Look at this. Becky B with the exit. He has everything he needs on that exit with a defensive move to the inside, closing off the door for Lucas Yan. Becky B holding things through turn 2. And 3 now up into turn 4. My oh my, Becky B already nearly half a second away.
Great launch. You expect that on the soft tires. That's what he needed to do. He got that P1 position. Now he can surge ahead on those soft tires, try and break DRS, but Lucas Yan's a formidable opponent. He's got some work cut out for him, Becky.
Big issue for Yamamoto in the Haas right now, dropping down the grid, looking for damage. Front right end plate has been removed. Back to Microlander, the Ferrari on the rear of Rhapsody, the Brazilian in 5th position. In front of him is a very good defensive driver that we have seen in races past as the rear gunner for Mr. Lucas Yan. Lucas Yan, the championship leader. Rhapsody, well, a team tactician. Becky B at 21.686, 1.1 seconds ahead of Mr. Lucas Yan. And if he is able to maintain that and push it. Oh, there goes Rez on the inside of Microlander. I didn't even see him coming. Excuse me. What a move.
Lovely move. Caught him by surprise, I think, as well. One of the only ones who he's making sure, like Becky, that he gets those softs up and abouts there. So by the time that pit stop phase comes for the medium runners, they'll have a chance of securing some decent points.
It is absolutely critical for Rez to make his way to the front of this field on those tires right now. He's got, as you mentioned, a few laps to do it. Maxim B under threat from Jacob for this 11th position. Still things within 2/10. We saw a move here yesterday, Johnny Disco. Oh, I thought Jacob was going to send it there. Maybe he was watching the race and thought better of it.
It is a good place to go for an overtake if you're opposing driver takes it very cautiously to turn 11, gets a bad run. As Carmeless has dropped down the auto strip, he's had a big problem through turn 13. Don't think he's got any damage. He's still running, but my oh my. He was running third, and he's all the way in 10th now, and he's coming under third to Maxime B.
Karma lesson. Oh, on the inside defensive here. Looking for a switchback. Maxime B not able to get enough of it. Oh, look how tight he is. Oh, this might have exposed him to Jacob more so than he wants.
See, I think Jacob just thought better of it. Lifted a little through turn 3, so he wouldn't be all over Maxime B into turn 4 and compromise both their runs. I think he knew that the overtake's not really on through turn 4. Although we can see drivers get brave with it.
Rez still hunting down position. Rhapsody 4th right now. DRS is in effect for this run into turn 1. We'll have to see what it can do for the softs against Rhapsody right now, even with his DRS capability in front. Yeah, there's just not a lot.
Following the car on those softs is not going to do him any justice right now, and it doesn't help that his teammate Siffy is right in front offering DRS assistance to Rhapsody. So Rez is going to have to try and hang in there, make those softs work somehow, especially as he gets later on through the stint.
Back to Jacob in 12th position. Excuse me as I say that. Yeah, with a move on the inside of turn 4. Back through around the outside of turn 5 to secure the move on Melee.
And Mears at the moment, he does have those 2 cars ahead of him. The white cars, that beautiful Red Bull livery and the Alfa Romeo one. Jacob having a look, thinks better of it. What's that DRS? Maxime B does not have any assistance from Carmelison ahead, so we could be seeing a bit of action here heading into turn 1.
DRS and utilization. Battery. Move off to the inside for Jacob. Yeah, very late on the brakes there to try and close the gap to these two. Really closing the gap, not what you want to do. He's tapped Maxim, excuse me. And this has really brought Melee back.
Battling like that, great opportunity to pounce upon. See Melee fighting the car through turn 5. So that battle for P4 is really heating up. Siffy is slowly starting to pull away. He might just pull out of that DRS range. Perhaps he's just there. 9.89. They're about to cross over the detection point. I think if you might have him, no. Perhaps he may just keep DRS here. May just live to fight another day, but Rez is so close behind. Not sure Rhapsody can do this for many more laps, but I don't think Rez's tyres can do it either.
Yeah, Rhapsody in a good position to maybe hold this position long term. Rez has a ticking clock here, and Microlander is really, well, he's making it tick rapidly.
I think Microlander is just biding his time. He knows that it's important to not lose too much time to Rhapsody ahead, because when Rez does inevitably pit earlier, he will have that buffer to Rhapsody, so you have to pick his shot wisely to go for Rez. I'm thinking around lap 8 would be the ideal time, but forget about that at the moment because Rez is still holding on to Rhapsody, and Rhapsody has not been able to hold on to the back of Siffy. He's out of DRS range, and we could see a bit of shuffling into the first sector.
Very unfortunate situation for On Hill there. Just retiring that car in the pit lane. Visha, 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings as the train continues to fight for this 4th position on the rear of Rhapsody. We have another train on the rear of Yaya with Maxim and Melee, and we have a yellow flag sector 1. That is the retired car of CEST.
Look how close Microlander is. If only Rez didn't have DRS to Rhapsody, as Becky B's pitted. He's called it in. Most likely for the hards, I think. No, he has opted for the mediums, so he may try and take them to the end, but life of them will be shot. He does have a big undercut, but he also has a fair amount of traffic to deal with.
I think he is in a good position to maybe do something about it, given, well, it is Hungary. It is Hungary. That's going to provide to be tricky in itself.
Yeah, it doesn't help. Melee has DRS to Maxime B, but I think Becky B's shown he does have superior pace, and he's catching him at a rate of knots at the moment.
Well, Melee had a snap coming out of turn 5 that's really kind of brought Becky B even closer into this fight for position and moving through traffic again. Melee, just a slip of the rear there, just drifting out. Another one coming off the curb. He snaps it coming off the curb, and Becky is just all over this.
He's not under his car at the moment, is he? Becky B should be careful here because Melee gets a bit trigger happy on that right foot. There's a chance he could see him slide around with how much he's been burning out those rear tires. Oh, look at that run. Bye-bye. See you later. That's an extra position for Becky B to gain. It's easy nonetheless.
It was a beautiful move. Nothing that he can do about it. Just clean.
Very clean. And he read it well as Microlander goes around the outside of Rez into turn 4.
Yeah, now we're at that point where these softs, as you mentioned, they're at that cliff point severely. We saw Becky come in, and I think it's done very well for him, but Rez is in a different situation, a different scenario now. Visha hunting him down. Becky B wanting to clear through Maxim. Separation less than 2/10 as we come through sector 2. Let's see now. Becky B, does he push the issue? Does he force things through? Not yet.
I think he might.
What a run!
Oh.
Oh my, Maxim B. Not much of a defense there. And I'm going to quote Maxim B the other day. I think he said, I'm on team Becky, so I don't know if there's a little bit of a... I think he said that because Becky didn't have a toe last week or something like this, he was going to try and assist him when he could. So, getting out of the way there.
Very kind of him. It does also help him, keep in mind, he gets DRS for the next 2 straights, and maybe even more. So he's getting a little bit out of this exchange. Becky B nonetheless putting in good laps at the moment. Putting in very, very
Uh-oh,
solid laps.
Microlander has just spun the car. I went on with him behind Rhapsody. And now he is staring at cars coming up the hill.
At the moment, Lucas Yan travelling at about 18.8. Becky B's done a 19.0, albeit with traffic in front of him. That was Maxime B. It's about lap 9. As what's going on with the... Oh, that's interesting.
Timing tower will repopulate now as Lucas Yan crosses the line. 18.939, fastest lap at that. 4.2 to Siffy. Very fast at the moment. Lucas Yan really, really flying tonight.
He's got that massive 4.1 second gap. It's Becky B goes fastest. So Becky B lapping just slightly faster than Lucas Yan, about a quarter of a second.
A major tire differential, though, to be mentioned.
Yeah. It's all about how Becky B really deals with this traffic in the most efficient way possible. If he wants to really gain on Lucas. I believe he's about 15 seconds behind, so he will undercut him. It's more about how that late phase turns out. If there is a later safety car, thinking around lap 20, 23.
Yeah, now his next obstacle for Becky B, and when... Well, this could be a good opportunity for Becky B, this strategy, given the fact that should there be a safety car in any capacity, presents him with a chance to move up the field. Visha, Rhapsody exchange.
Yeah, Visha with a poor race start, but clawing his way back to P3.
Maxim, melee around the outside of turn 2. Maxim B with the hold.
Don't mind a good look around there. Seeing some beautiful racing through turn 2.
Benitez retiring the car in the pit lane.
Becky B's already caught up to his next victim. It's just whether he's close enough this lap to make sure he doesn't lose too much time.
Well, I think given the fact that Jacob does not have DRS on the car ahead, will give Becky B a very quick opportunity to make short work of Jacob here.
Yeah, he's within that 4/10 range. Very comfortable right there, but he may need a bit of a lunge. Nope, he's using that ERS. I think Jacob's got anything on him. He doesn't. Carmelison is into the pits. So I believe that's the first medium runner into the pits. He's onto a set of hards, which he will take to the end, barring no safety cars.
How do you liking Becky B for the mediums to the end?
What's it? He looks like he's being relatively nice to his sides. He is using the rears a bit out of those long corners, such as turn 5 is about to come out of. It's mainly turn 13 and 14 where you really see him kind of flirt with that steering wheel, trying to balance the tires out. But I think he can, if he tries to manage them now. He's got a 4.5 second buffer to Tholtz up ahead. I think he's got about a 6-7 second buffer to Lucas Yan if Lucas were to pit right about now. I'd say he could make it to the end, but watch him right now. He had a bit of a moment through turn 11, so if he has many more of those, he might be struggling a bit come lap 30, 35.
Things starting to spread out a little more in the grid throughout the field.
Rapsy over the past several laps, couple of laps, has done a good job to hold on the back of the DRS of Vischer. He's slowly catching Siffy, I believe.
Vischer with an issue here. Rhapsody around the outside of turn 4. What happened to Vischer? And that was just
had to be a massive snap through turn 3. Rhapsody was massive amounts of courage to hang it around the outside. You saw Vischer was not able to hold it on the apex. If Rhapsody did not proceed with a slightly bit more edge of caution, I think there would have been a fairly big accident right there.
It was a very touch and go moment, but he got it done. He definitely got it done. Bolts is there now as well, and this is going to really help him defend off long term from Becky B, given he'll have the DRS.
He's still catching the 3 up ahead pretty quickly. Keep in mind, those guys will have to pit in the next 10 laps. I think, actually, no, probably more. But, those softs are a bit of a mystery. At least to me.
Laps now. Vischer's spun. Just coming out of the chicane, that Aston Martin has gone round. That is the second time I have seen that happen, where a car has just spun in front of the car I'm watching on screen.
He's stuck there.
He's just sitting. I don't understand. He's not moved at all. He has been DSK'd.
Unless he was... okay. Was he waiting for cars to go by? I'm surprised he sat there. Very weird, very weird.
I'm not sure why he sat there like that. I think he had time. Yeah, man. Okay. Bit of a snap out of the Haas.
Rapsy and Tholtz not attached to each other by DRS, so Becky B, by the time he catches Tholtz, should have a relatively easy time of overtaking him. But Becky right now, currently 4/10 a lap faster than Lucas Yan.
Yeah, Santa Goat's had some issue because he's got no front wing. He's lost 2 positions, Carmeless and Impala. Pushing through with ease.
Melly and Maxime have had a good race-long scrap, haven't they? Melly's barely used that ERS. You can see 90% in that back straight. But they're keeping each other company. Becky B will be shortly giving Tholtz company, you'd assume, in the next 2 laps with the speed he's going at.
What's happened here? That's a Ferrari. That's not. I thought it was B-Man. It's Microlander now. He's looking the wrong way. Trying to get things spun back around. Alright, Melee with that DRS and the battery in utilization on Maxim. Rez on the rear here, following as closely as he can, but nothing coming out of the Aston Martin just yet.
My time has now come, Striff, so I will leave you guys to it.
Well, thank you.
Just a quick, just a quick prediction. I believe no safety car. Becky B will win as long as he keeps those tyres alive. And if we do have a safety car, my money's on Lucas Yan, though. I'll be watching. So good luck to the drivers and enjoy the stream.
Thank you very much, Seb, for coming. Of course, everybody, Seb has to take off. Things ran a little bit longer on the broadcast than anticipated, given the fact that we did have to do a full restart on quali. So thank you very much for him for taking the time to come and commentate. And well, I'll take you through to the end of the racing action. And just to anyone that may be joining just right now, we have, of course, Lucas Yan, Siffy, and Rhapsody, our top three, all yet to come into the pit lane. Becky B and Tholtz now with an exchange. Becky B on the inside will take Tholtz into turn 1 and now hold that position through turn 2. And Becky B, as they continue to push away, he's closing in on Rhapsody. And all the cars ahead are down to pit stop. However, he has to run a very long stint on his tires. Rez now ahead of Melee around the outside. 8th position for Rez, getting the Aston Martin. Melee looking to fight back as we come up into turn 4. Does he send it around the outside? Rez holding 8th for now. Very solid race coming in this midfield right now for 7th position between Rez, Melee, and of course Maxim currently holding the position. Then we have Becky B hunting down Rhapsody. Finally, these mediums that he came off the softs for, bringing him into the podium paying positions once again. Started in 2nd position on the softs. Now Rhapsody in front of him. Big snap for Becky. He doesn't want to have too many of those. Rhapsody will be happy to see them. X and B still with Rez, but of course Rez on the much better tire. 9-lap old mediums. For Rez right now, he's on a similar strategy to Becky B. He came in a lap later than Becky. Now, Rhapsody under threat here from Becky. A good run here from Becky. Battery and utilization. Rhapsody pulling off to that inside line, gradually moving off to the outside. Now Becky now on the inside. The lunge, Rhapsody holding as tight as he can here. I don't think it's enough for him to hold off Becky. Becky with a charge to the outside as we come through into turn 2. Becky around the outside, not enough for him. Rhapsody holding as we come through turn 3. Becky B has not been able to close and push through on this Mercedes. He is holding beautifully. Something's happened here. Yama in the pit lane has retired the car. So did Batista. Rhapsody still holding on to that 3rd position, and he is going to continue to do so as long as he can. Currently, the gap is about 13 seconds to, well, it is 13 seconds to Lucas Yan. Across the line, here goes Becky. A very good run, even more so than the last time, through into turn one. The retired cars coming out of the pit lane. That could be 1.2 seconds, the gap to now Siffy in front. And that will be second position where he began this race. Lucas Yan yet to come into this pit lane. And when he does so, he will be on the softs. Here comes Lucas. Siffy, I wonder if he will follow. I believe he will. No, he will not. Siffy staying out. So, Becky B, Siffy, 1 and 2. Siffy, of course, under threat from Becky B. Becky B with a big launch into turn one. Will take that inside and take lead of the race. Rhapsody 1 second behind Siffy. Bolts 2 seconds behind Rhapsody. And then we have Lucas Yan 2.7 seconds behind on the first softs, looking to hunt down all the drivers in front of him. Now we've had an issue. That is going to be Microlander just in front of B-Man with an issue coming out of the final turn. Jacob in that pit lane. Lucas Yan really breaking down the gaps to Becky B. It's been a good race, a very strategical race. We haven't had too much drama. Knockwood. An easy swap there for Lucas Yan and Rhapsody. No fight there from Rhapsody the way we saw him fight Becky B, and that's to be expected given the team tactics that we have seen out of the Mercedes squad this season. Now Siffy coming into the pit lane. That will put the Mercs 2 and 3. Rhapsody on a major stint with these mediums. B-Man, very old tires. Rez now in 4th. Been a very good drive for Rez. Oh. I'm sure what happened there. I thought Yaya went into the rear of B-Man for a moment. Jacob and Tholtz. Wheel to wheel. Coming out through into turn 2. Tholtz around the outside of Jacob. Yeah, with a snap coming out of turn 1. B-Man with the older tires trying to fight back. Major exchanges here happening right now on track as Rhapsody, Tholtz, Jacob all tight in formation. Rhapsody really staying out as long as he can. Well, not necessarily staying out, but trying to fight with these guys as long as he can to push through into some major position, as that pit stop just put him right in the middle of these guys. He needs to get through Tholtz and then fight Karma Lesson. And he's got 9 laps to do it. I think he's got a chance given what we've seen out of him today. Look at all of this action. Beautiful action. Tholtz in 5th. Rhapsody 6th right now. Karma Lesson has been dispatched. Jacob with the squeeze. I don't know if that was a squeeze or if he's pushed wide. Look at the send. Jacob on the inside of Karma Lesson. 13 lap old hards really not doing what they need to be doing right now, and there is an issue. For who is this? Microlander has had a problem in the Ferrari. This is... Well, I've actually lost count of how many times Microlander has come through with a problem tonight, and it's unfortunate to see it. Rhapsody, Tholtz, the fight continues. Tholtz in 5th holding. Ooh, there's some desync there, and you hate to see it, as Yeah has had an element of disconnection. Jacob has had, and I have had a disconnection. No, that is not what you want to be seeing at all. I'm hoping that that was on my end, no one else's. Anyone is in contact with some of the drivers and like having them type 1 in the chat if they are deep, or if it's genuinely connected, let me know. Oh dear. Everyone was kicked. Well, what I can confirm that at this point in time, we'll have to take a look and see with the results of what we had, because it's far too late for a restart now, given our MRL rules. So with that, fortunately, I will need to include the stream. But stay tuned to Twitter and to our social media, and of course the Discord, for the official results when we do determine those, and that should be sometime within the next 48 hours. Of course, tomorrow there is some great racing action coming ahead for the Tier 2 division, and whether or not we have a broadcast is yet to be determined. And then we will have the Tier 1 racing on Thursday as well. Now, I just want to say, very thankful to everyone that came through to tonight's stream and here for Hungary. Of course, the drivers, it's very unfortunate that we had multiple issues tonight with, of course, the qualifying restart, and then now the issue, I believe that was a Steam issue here at the later stage. So, big apologies there, and it's unfortunate that these things occur, but we do what we can to try and avoid them or navigate through them, around them, etc., and so forth. Now, I will be calling it there, and thank you so much for joining us here for the Misfits Racing League. My name is Striffium here from Canada. Joining me earlier was Seb from Australia, and of course he had to leave because we had kind of had planned with the restart earlier on. But thank you again so much, everybody, and we will see you for the races coming ahead here on the Twitch channel.